on, guys? Peace, love, and power. It is your boy, Joshua October.
And I'm Jimmy LeVar. And behind every person is love.
What's up? And I'm Cameron AZI out here, and we spreading truth and truth only.
You don't want war with us. 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 You keep them illegal talk. You do not give a fuck. And that's just sum it up. You talking on the side. My pistol down the ride. I'm riding through them trenches. So my face, middle fingers out, and it's out till it's stuck. Middle fingers out, and it's out till it's stuck. Middle fingers out, and it's out till it's stuck. Middle fingers out, and it's out till it's stuck. I don't give a fuck. Nigga, fuck your luck. Whoa, I'ma watch you fight. Get shot like a gun. Get low on the floor. Yeah, I got it. Ain't for sure. Get into the sucker dough. I'ma hate you to the core.
I don't feel the same. What do they want from me? It's not the same old me that they want. I can't keep giving me for no cause.
Everywhere I go and everyone I know. Everywhere I go, everyone I know. Everywhere I go, war. Everywhere I go and everyone I know. Everywhere I go, everyone I know. And everywhere I go, war.
Here we go.
Truth.
Truth and truth only, my brother. How is everything going? Happy Tuesday.
Right. Blessed, brother. Blessed for real. Blessed to have another day, and blessed to be here right now. That's what matters.
For sure.
I'm
For
glad
sure.
to have you for sure.
How y'all good?
Yeah, everything is good on this end. I just recently relocated to Tampa, Florida from Boston. So, I'm still out here freshly and newly. But, I got some things bubbling up. Got some events being, organized and stuff. So I'm well, thank you.
That's perfect. He said, I gotta get out this cold. He said, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get.
No, for sure. So, let's jump into it, and let's go back. Let's take it back from, how you began to your music career. You're from New York. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your upbringing, and your upbringing in New York too, specifically.
All right, so growing up, grew up in Long Island, to be specific, and I grew up. First part of my life. This is before I met O'Fonnell, because I actually met him. Deeper part of my life, like half my life. The beginning of my life, I was in Wyandanch, Amityville, and I was growing up over there, sports and stuff like that. Having my pops in and out of jail and stuff like that my whole life, basically. So when it came to one thing that I can acknowledge that really did influence a lot to who I am now was the fact that since he was so much in the system, he had no filter when it came to telling me about how life was. So from an early age, I knew, like, okay, from when I was 9, 8 years old, I already knew Santa Claus wasn't real. He been told me that, you know what I'm saying? He been telling me, like, yo, don't work a job. Like, they just trying to use you as slaves and yada, yada, yada. So at a young age, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, but I didn't know how I wanted to do it. I knew, though, that I did not want to work for anybody from a young age. So he put that in my head. He put me on to that. And from then on, I was always on doing my own thing. You feel me? Doing my own thing to get some money, selling shirts, selling whatever I got to do so I don't got to work a job. You feel me? And then I was playing sports for a minute, but sports, it came to a point where sports wasn't making me money either. You feel what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, like, it's like I could keep doing sports, or I could do something that's gonna benefit me when I get out of the school, because I'm definitely not going to college. I knew that. Like, I knew I wasn't just, I knew I was here for my own path. I didn't know how I was gonna get there, but I knew I was gonna get there not following everybody else, because what I wanted was different from everybody else around me. So starting from there, I actually moved half my life to Brentwood, and that's where I met the whole group, and that's where I met 0500 at first when I first came there. And honestly, I didn't even expect me to make music. I thought I was going to do clothes or something, because I was always into dressing and clothes and looking clean, stuff like that. So I always thought I was going to do clothes and stuff like that, because my first business when I was 12, I had my first clothing brand. So So I knew clothes and I knew how to work social media platforms at that age too. So I was like, I thought I was gonna do clothes. And I did write some poetry here and there, but when I did like this little poetry club when I was like younger, like they wasn't really like my shit was different from what the poetry that other people was making. When I was making poetry, I'm not gonna lie, I was talking about like dark shit. You feel what I'm saying? But like shit I was feeling, you know what I'm saying? So I was talking about like deeper feeling stuff. And it wasn't on the lighter side that they wasn't posting it on their showings and stuff like that. So I was just like, all right, I don't know if I'm gonna even do rap writing. So because you know what I'm saying? So I didn't even know I could even write or anything like that. I was just honestly writing my feelings. And then what's it called? When I met Subs, he had his own studio and stuff like that. And then at first I was just hanging around in the studio, just being around that. And then one time I wrote this rap just to see how it was. And then I said it out loud. And it was, oh, nah, you should just try to record that because you never know. Like, that should actually sound fire. Like, you got to flow a little bit. So I hopped on it. And after the first song, I was like, okay, I fuck with this. This is, it's different. It's different. And then after that the first song I did, Systematic Psycho did like 10K in a month. And then after that, I seen like, okay, this is something that I could actually do. Like people fucking with it, I could keep on doing it. So from once I made that, I seen that it was causing some traction. I was really messing with it. That's when I started deep indulge into music, like fully like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do 110%. Stopped everything. I was still going to school and stuff, but I stopped, quit my job and all that because I tried to work a Subway job. I work a job at Subway, but once I found this music show, I was like, nah, I got to give my 100%. I realized that like anything I want to do, I have to put my 100 because then I'm wasting time and energy that I could be spending into myself. So once I made that sacrifice of completely putting myself in the studio, like sleeping on the floor, you feel me, like paying extra for rent just so I could be in a space so I could record music because this is what I want to do. That's when it started to evolve, and I started to deep indulge into my sound and started to experiment with my writing, and I realized that music was for real that same outlet that I was using for writing and stuff like that. Music was that outlet, and it still is that outlet. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So then after that, after just fully indulging myself in music, this is where we are today, and this is where it all came from. I still haven't had to work a job from that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's where we are now.
I think that's dope, man. And it's crazy because you said a really profound word, sacrifice. And I know now that you're a father and and there's so much sacrifice with that. Has the word sacrifice, has that word changed for you now that you have a daughter?
I feel like more than ever, I overstand sacrifice because if I wanted to get where I wanted, you always have to sacrifice something when it comes to your time, to the people you hang around, to something, So having a kid, I realized that I have to make sacrifices to make sure she's in the most best predicament that I could put her in. You feel me? So perfect example of let me go over here. Perfect example of a sacrifice was I was living in New York with all my friends, all my family, or even in Philly, actually. I was living in Philly before this, and that's still like an hour away. So it's still close to family and stuff like that. But I was still living in the city. I was still it was still crowded. We were still overpaying and stuff like that. And I had to really sit there with myself and I'm really like, all right, either I could sit here and still look for apartments in the city life and try to find something cheaper, or I can make a big step and move 3-4 hours out of the city. I might be sacrificing being away from my friends and away from my family. In that, I get to put my daughter where she gets to have a backyard. She don't have to, I don't have to worry about walking down the street or who's on out. Feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't got to watch my back. Like, the water is here is clean, the air is here clean. So it's like, I realized that when it comes to her betterment, it's sacrifice whatever I have to sacrifice over everything, and I feel like that pushed me to put me in a better environment, because if I was still over there, if I didn't have no daughter, I would still probably be in the city. I would still probably be doing all of that stuff, still attached to all that stuff. But I feel like since having a kid, you're forced to put yourself in a predicament where it's like, you got to put this kid first, no matter what. You got to put her first, no matter, even if you have to be away from family or friends to be in a better environment so she could grow up better. You got to make that sacrifice. I got to make sacrifice of, even when I was on vacation, right? I had to make sacrifices of not being in the studio and stuff like that, because I got to spend time today to make sure my daughter good and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, it's sacrifices, but it's sacrifices for the better. You feel what I'm saying? Because I know that this is my daughter. You feel me? Taking care of her, making sure her health good. That's anything to sacrifice to make sure she can get what she needs is honestly the best sacrifice. So sacrifice though has definitely been a prominent thing when having a kid, for real. And being comfortable with sacrifice. I feel like sacrifice, people put it in like a bad perspective when you hear sacrifice, like, oh, you about to, like, you feel what I'm saying? But
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But if you really change your perspective on like sacrifices means you could sacrifice your time of sleep because you want to work on your what you got to do. That's a sacrifice right there. You gotta make some type of sacrifice so you can get what you put in return, for real, for real.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's real too, and it goes with perspectives too, because, if they just change their perspective on, what sacrifice means to them or how they look at it, it will change, just how like people look at bumblebees like the most dangerous, fucking bees of all time. And it's like, they're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, not bumblebees, maybe them hornets or whatever the case may be. But, it's the perspective that people needs to start really, owning up to it and changing and how they view things. And my next question for you, my brother, is, at what point in time in your life did you feel like, all right, before your daughter had came into your life, did you also have, moments in time where you felt like, all right, how I am being involved around maybe certain crowds or certain people's energies, I need to detach myself from. Has those moments happened? And if they happen, how was you able to handle those detachments? Because sometimes detaching is going into a dark place, right? Being by yourself, being alone, separating yourself from those negative energies or whatever the case may be. How do you handle all that, and how do you deal with that, with separating yourself from certain energies and so forth?
All right, so it's crazy too, because one big aspect I feel like that pushed my art and my music to where it could be and where it is now is that I was comfortable with detaching myself from other people for a temporary amount of time, because I realized that as much as, because I grew up being a people pleaser, you feel me? I grew up making sure people around me is good, or you know what I'm saying? But I had to sit there and sit with myself like, but am I making sure I'm happy? You feel what I'm saying? Am I making sure that my internal self is really happy, or am I chasing this attachment to make other people happy because it gives me this temporary feel good? You feel what I'm saying? So I had to sit there with myself, and I had to sit there and be like, I have to do what's good for myself. So while making music, while writing, I would spend 5-6 months like in my room, like not really talking to nobody, like not really communicating, just in my room, writing my thoughts every day, meditating, taking care of my health, and taking that time, because we spend so much of our life playing into the external world. They never taught you to look within. We spend so many time, when you're bored, when you're not doing that, put on the TV. When you're not doing that, go on your phone. Like, we were never taught growing up, go sit with yourself and write your thoughts down and reflect on them. We were never taught no shit like that. So when it comes to reconnecting to our internal self, our real self, it's going to be an uncomfortable journey, because we were never taught to do that. And everything, and I realized to grow, I have to put myself in an uncomfortable situation. Perfect example is when one time growing up, changed my life forever, coincidentally, that I was like 16. I got in trouble for something, right? And I got all my phone and everything taken away for like 3-4 months. But in those 3-4 months, I wasn't allowed to go out at night. And in those 3-4 months, I literally grew so much internally, spiritually, and everything. And it was because I had nowhere to run to get that external stimulation to separate myself from myself. I was forced to sit there and clean my room every day, take care of myself, forced to focus on myself and not waste time focusing on these external and other people's lives. you know? So that's why it's so important for real, we have to change our perspective on the certain aspects of being alone. You know, we always put like, oh, I'm alone, yada, 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 but you're never really alone, because at the end of the day, like, you could be without, you have yourself, you there with yourself every day. When you wake up, you there with yourself, you feel me? But people are so have a loss with connection with self. They're a stranger to their own selves, that when they're that when they're with themselves by themselves, they actually get scared of the person that they're there with. And you wouldn't only be scared of something that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's fact, for real.
That's big facts.
So
big facts.
Yup, and that was something I really had to sit there and get comfortable with. Get comfortable with making sacrifices for your better health. Because at the end of the day, if they're real friends, if you got real family and real love around you, they gonna understand everything you're going through. They gonna always be there. My real friends, I cannot talk from 2-3 months and I come back and like nothing ever happened. Like, you good, bro? Like yada yada yada. And that's real love right there. So we got to stop worrying about putting other people's feelings over ourselves. You feel what I'm saying? And making sure your self-love is where it needs to be. Because real love is always going to be there if they really fuck with you. You got to make sure your self-love is at that point that it needs to be.
Love that. And you know what I've noticed, since we've also been all just, having this this open conversation, that your dad kind of shaped this perspective in you that's very like raw, straightforward, straight to the truth. What has your mom helped you understand about life as well?
Definitely, let me tell you, that nigga not in my life at all. It was just more of like an older brother type shit, you feel me? But with my mother, it was way more. She taught me how to care, how to love, you feel me? How to I feel like really emphasized the woman essence, since that was so prominent in my life. I was so close, mama's boy, you feel me? So I always understood the powerful essence and the comfortability that woman can provide, you feel me? So, and also I feel like a lot of people don't emphasize that you have a masculine and feminine side in you. We all have masculine and feminine parts inside of us, so one thing that was taught to me that was I feel like I was very blessed to have was the balance of understanding my feminine side, that balance of understanding my feelings. Like, it's okay to feel how I feel. It's okay to reflect and cry and all that shit, and not be so hard on myself, because you got to acknowledge that feminine side so you can have that balance. When you start to ignore that side of you, you become unbalanced, and now you're running away from yourself, you're fighting yourself, you're mad at yourself because you're feeling this way, but it's all because you don't understand that side of yourself. So I feel like just that mother aspect in my life was so prominent. It gave me a strong balance of understanding my feminine side. And the thing is, people got to understand, creating art, that's your feminine side. Creating, you know what I'm saying? Being creative and doing, and you got to flourish that side of you, because this is a side of you that helps you create and helps you think of stuff and ideas. So I feel like that was really prominent when it came to my creating an art, because it was always there. It was always there, thriving, because my feminine side was there, prominent and acknowledged. So I feel like it was a good balance, even though I wish that, in my life and shit like that. But at the same time, I feel like everything happened for a reason, because it also taught me what I wanted, what I wish I had it as a father figure. You feel what I'm saying? So put me in a position to reflect on what I need, do exactly opposite what that nigga was doing. You feel what I'm saying? So everything for real happens for a reason.
Yeah. No, 100%. Everything does happen for a reason, and the universe, works in mysterious ways. And just the fact that I feel like people need to acknowledge more about living on this earth, and the earth that we live on is a living being. It's alive, and the energy that's all around it, and it carries within itself. How do you feel? What's your perspective on certain religions? What's your perspective on religion?
All right. So all right. So when it comes to religion, All right, so where do I even start?
All right.
That's a bit, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna start at the base. I'm gonna start at the base of religion, because at the end of the day, what everybody is feeling is real. That spirit that you're feeling and whatever you're feeling in is real. That's why you feel it. That's why you become attached to this religion, because that feeling, that spiritual side of you that's being provoked is 110% real. But what gets misconstrued is all the labels, all the names, all this, or you have to do this, all these fake structures and organizations that they set up to keep us more divided. You know what I'm saying? When you connect with that spirit, you're all one. But when you have all different labels and different, no, this is wrong, this right, this, that all goes to us dividing. You feel what I'm saying? So if we even go into the root word of religion comes from the word I think it's relio or something like that, and that's a Greek word, and that even means to tie down. So religion, it's the even wording of religion is meaning to tie down, to tie you to something, because religion, they're trying to tie you to their structure, to their whatever their ideas they believe you want you to they want you to be hooked onto it and tied into it and believe that you need to follow this for this structure of life. But just know, life, your spiritual journey is not structured. There's no structure to spirit, because the same thing of spirit, I like to break down, you can even break down spirit into the molecules of how everything is made up. Everything is made up of atoms, which is made up of energy and matter, right? So energy is that spirit and matter is this material world. So literally, the whole makeup of this world is the balance between spiritual and the material world. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to your spirit, you have to nurture it. You feel what I'm saying? And the thing is they know what they're doing, what you're feeling, but they're manipulating the material and how you're believing in what you're believing, how you're you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh yeah, going back into your spirit cannot be controlled though. Energy is everywhere, spirit everywhere. You don't want to as soon as somebody tries to control your spirit, is going against your spirit, because your spirit can be controlled, just like how your spirit can't die because it lives on forever. So it's something that's there forever. So that's why my sort of beliefs, I'm just spiritual. I believe in African spirituality and just spirituality in general, nature. You know what I'm saying? Things that were here before man added their own names and added their own stuff that was here before man could even come up with the concept of adding names and Bibles and stuff like that. Because we got to always remember, there was something before your religion, and that's just a fact. There was something before that name was made up. And for those names to even make up, there was a whole spiritual essence. So somebody could even have the intelligence to come up and write these names. What was the spiritual essence that they were believing in before they wrote that actual scripture that they were writing? You know what I'm saying? So people need to stop holding themselves to one aspect and stop adding boundaries to their spirit, because your spirit is boundless. So if you really believe in this and whatever religion you believe in, this is why I always say, for real, is you better be fully indulging in yourself, meaning that you better be reading in the real cut version. You better be doing research into where it came from. Don't read the revised version, because the revised version is not the direct version of what you're supposed to be reading. You know what I'm saying? What's your religion? What's your belief? Your belief is not that person that revised that Bible. Your belief is that source. Whatever you believe in, go into the source before it was manipulated and before it was construed and revised. You know what I'm saying? If your stuff should never be revised, if it should be word on everything else. But people need to look deeper, because as soon as you start looking deeper into your belief, into your religion, into your roots of your religion, because your religion has roots. When you start to look at the roots, you start to see that there's more to uncover. There's more to what you're feeling. You know what I'm saying? And you get to see that the game that they're playing against you, because we also got to think about it. Why would a book that was so holy, right? Why would it need to be revised? Wouldn't they keep the exact same version that was written and try to get it pinpoint. Why does it need to be revised if they want to input something that they feel like should be in it? You know what I'm saying? Even going back to this proof that with King James, right? If you search this up, he actually put witches in the Bible because he had a personal experiences with witches. But what that goes to show you is that there's personal opinions that's added into your holy book. That means that this book, there's certain words, there's certain story in there that came from your direct source on what you're believing in. That means you're believing a misconstrued and manipulated version of your spirit, you know? So when it comes to religion, it's like, don't limit yourself to one structure that someone says that you need to follow, because everybody's spiritual journey is different. We all don't have the same spirit. You feel me? We all come from one, but all of our spirits is different. So how do you expect your spiritual journey to be exactly the same as the other person? You know what I'm saying? But it's a sense of fear of the unknown. They subconsciously program us to not trust ourselves and to trust what's given to us. So that's why people have such a hard, letting go of their religion, because it's this fear of oh, I don't know what to do with my spirit. I don't know what to believe in. Where do I put my direction in? But naturally, we know that direction if we connect more within self. But since we've lost that connection with self, we've lost that direction on where to go. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like religion is what you're feeling is real, but do research into the roots of it, because when I talk to people that's heavy into their religion, a lot of them don't even know half the stuff I be knowing about their roots. And I'm like, you should know more than me. You believe in this, you should know way more than me about this shit. But that goes to show you that there's a sense of unknowing, and that's connected to the fear.
So is it safe to say that that you believe in a higher power, but you don't necessarily, you don't give it a name, but there's a higher power that you believe that everybody is connected to, but based off of how you grew up and who told you what about spirituality, that's what they kind of connect to, what that higher power is, and they give it a name. Is it safe to say that?
I mean, I call my high power Anu, and then also Neter, which is nature. That's where the word nature comes from, actually, the Kemetic word Neter. So I go to a Neter too, because nature right here is a representation of source, because source is in everything. You feel what I'm saying? Source is nature. More than everything, every day I realize the more I connect with nature, the more I'm connecting with source, literally. This is why they're trying to disconnect us. They want us to be in the house all day, be in our phones, because they want to disconnect you from that real God. They want to really disconnect you, because once you really look outside and start connecting to nature, you're going to see who the real God is. You're going to feel it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely.
So because Joshua October over here has always, I would say recently too, kind of emphasized on Mother Nature and how that's what he believes in. And we always have these talks about spirituality and what it means to us. And I just find it very interesting that you're saying something very similar.
No, 100%. And it's crazy. I mean, first of all, we're gonna get ready to wrap it up shortly. We've been talking for so long, but there's so much more, man. I want to dive deep in and talk about. But 100%, I agree with you. And man, it is so beautiful to hear, brothers who are awoken, who has realized the reality that they're living in this world that we're in, and who has detached themselves from the matrix and the vortex, and breaking generational curses, and being the one to realize that this game that they playing, it's all game, because we awake and now we know how to play it, and we gonna make sure that we move accordingly like we're supposed to. And that's powerful, my brother. And that's powerful, because not everybody is gifted to wake up and realize and start doing their due diligence on this world and this country and this planet, and really diving deep. So can we just clap it up and give a round of applause for my brother? And knowledge is power. So
I appreciate y'all for bringing these questions, these type of topics up, because people be a little afraid to be asking certain type of things, but these are the conversations that we need to have. We need to have these uncomfortable, these conversations that they're not talking about, because you're never going to get the answers you need if you're stuck listening to your comfortability.
100%. And damn, what do you think, as we get ready to wrap it up, with everything that we spoke about, and you being a father currently, and what you got going on in your career and your music, what do you got going on right now that you're working on career-wise, and what is it right now that you're working on, probably within yourself more, or within something maybe business-wise aspect that you have going on currently?
Right now, actually, we're working on expanding our 369 business. So me and my family, we got a whole holistic business where we sell CMOS, but we're actually starting to grow a lot of our own herbs like yarrow and chicory root, where we're going to start selling tinctures and different herbs that'll help heal people and stuff like that. But we wanted to actually grow it ourselves, so we know where it's sourced from, and we know that it's all organic, and we literally are putting our time and love into these type of healing medicinal aspects. So that right there is just expanding the business. That's one different aspect. Working on our foundation. One aspect that we've been prominent on and we've been emphasizing in our life is our foundation. We're just trying to work right now, get our LLC foundation, get our house foundation, buy property, start this big garden, you know what I'm saying? Because as the world is going to get crazy as time goes on, we need to make sure we have a strong foundation, so that when it gets crazy over there, we've been working on our foundation so good that we have our own system, that when shit falls over there and in their world, it's not going to affect us, because we've been preparing for this, building our strong foundation, our strong building. So right now, that's why I took a little break from putting out a lot of music, and I went to the drawing board. You feel what I'm saying? I took a break, and I wanted to get my house in order. I wanted to get my business in order, and I wanted to get on my foundation strong, so that when I could do this, when I go back into doing music and I put all this out, I don't have to worry about making money off music 100%. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I have consistent income from something that is so separate from music. You feel what I'm saying? Because if y'all know already, music at the end of the day, even I had an interview with Ye was saying that he actually spends more money making music than he actually gets from music. So music is a very good outlet, but at the end of the day, you need to spend money to make money. You feel what I'm saying? So when it comes to music, they paying a nigga less than a penny. You feel what I'm saying? And I get a good amount, but to support a family, you feel what I'm saying, and what we're trying to do, I need to expand. And at the end of the day, being an artist, all your people got to look at the bigger aspect. And this is something I had to realize too, as being an artist, all I want to be for real is just a business owner. I want to run on my own time schedule, and I have my own, so if you look in the aspect as being an artist, you are your own business owner. Don't close yourself to owning just one business. Me as an artist is one business I have, but most business owners definitely have multiple incomes flowing in. So I had to look at it like, let me stop limiting myself to just making music, because at the end of the day, I'm a business owner. This is what I want to do. Let me open my field to having multiple different businesses. So that's right now, is just working on that strong foundation and spreading our resources for real.
Oh man, I mean, one of the last things I really have to say is that I'm excited for your future. I'm excited for your daughter, getting older and having a father like yourself. I think we need more dads, in the world that's just as devoted and just as creative as oneself. And my last question would just be, with you also in all these different avenues as far as business, as it relates to business, whenever more music does come out, is it possible that we're going to hear a completely new sound? Is this possible?
Yeah, it's crazy too, because actually before this, I was when I was outside, I was having a lot of thoughts that I was going through, that reflecting on why I haven't made music in a little bit, and it's completely because I'm in a whole different environment to when I started making music. When I started making music, I was in the trap. I wasn't giving no fuck. I was out there like that. You feel what I'm saying? I was getting locked up. So like, I was rapping about literally everything I was doing. But now my life did a whole complete 180. So I'm in a whole different pool of water trying to make music. You know, I'm not going to talk about something that I'm not doing. It just don't feel right. You know, it's just not me. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Every time I make music, it's a reflection of my life and what it's going through at that moment. So this time I'm really excited to go back into the studio. And when I was in New York, I was actually in the studio for a little bit, you know, getting the rust off. And I'm actually excited because now when I'm making music, now I'm forced to use different words and use different and paint a different picture that I ever painted before, because I'm in a whole completely different mindset. So when I started, so yes, I know for a fact it has to be completely different from what I ever made, because I'm completely different from when I started, you know. So definitely.
I'm excited for you. Seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's real. And my last question for you, my brother, is whew, we talked about a lot. We talked about it all. We talked about the realness, the deepness, the being awake, being awoken in this universe. And you know, really quick, my last question, you know, as us human beings, I believe that we have power within us, within ourselves, that we have to really tap into, and really tap into our 7 chakras. What is your belief on us and us beings and being powerful or having some sort of powers?
Gonna tie it right back into nature. Yo, I can't emphasize that nature is so advanced. Nature will bring us to that next level. Be out in the sun. Go ground yourself. Make sure you're eating, taking your herbs. Make sure you're eating your plants and your vegetables, because nature is for the healing and nature's for the advancement. The more we connect with nature, the more we are going to advance ourselves to the next level humanly. You know, we got to think about it. We've been living this society, Western side of life, and look at where it's gotten us. You know, yes, we made, you know, everything happens for a reason. There is some benefits, but look at how we're destroying the planet. Look how we're destroying ourselves. Everybody's dying. It's all death. You know what I'm saying? So it's all because we're losing our connection to where we come from. Because the only difference between a plant and ours makeup is that the plant could produce chlorophyll to make it green, and we don't have that. You feel me? But everything else is exactly the same makeup. So we have to start connecting back home. We've been separated from our true selves. We've been separated from home and forced to live somebody else's version of life, you know? And if you really want to be powerful, do what you got to do for yourself and start connecting back to nature. No cap. Connect back to nature and connect back to your natural self and start looking within. Because the only way we can heal the external world is if we start healing internally. No cap. The only way for us to all get out of this safely is if we all fix ourselves safely. You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as you start to heal yourself internally, I'm telling you, everybody else around you that's supposed to be around you will literally start to heal. Like literally, my whole family, 2 adults and 4 younger kids. The youngest is 3, all vegan. I got them all to convert vegan and stuff like that. And at first they was completely not with it, nothing. But what made them open their eyes is when I started to do it myself. When I started to cook, take it serious and talk about it all around. When I started to live that life, you know what I'm saying? When I started to live, advancing myself, you influence all these people around you naturally, just because you're living it. You know what I'm saying? So best aspect for real, if we want to be so powerful, connect to nature and connect with your true self, for real.
No, that's real. And lead by example.
Yep,
That's the number one way to go about it. And hey, that's all the time that we have. And you heard it here first. We have dived dope and deep into the vortex of this reality, but really actually knowing and getting some real information and getting some, other perspectives on reality. Because, for me, there is one side that is false and an illusion, and then there's the truth. And it's up to you to choose. So it's your boy, Joshua October.
Jimmy Navarre, and behind every person is love.
And Cameron AZI here signing out. Shout out to Joshua too, and to setting this whole thing up. And this is what we need, more people. We need to have more of these conversations. We need to stop being so stingy with each other and stop being so standoffish, because we all in this together. For real.
Facts.
There's none, it ain't no separation. We all in this together. So appreciate y'all for real.
Facts. And this is Vamp Podcast Season 2, the online experience.
Fuck Independence Day. Independence for who? Our people wasn't independent when that shit was signed. When they signed this, it wasn't independent for all men. It was independence for white men. Specifically white men that own land. 46 out of the signers owned slaves. Thomas Jefferson had 200 slaves. Let me ask y'all something. Why the fuck you celebrating this? Because when this holiday was created and all these white men was celebrating alcohol, all of that, we was being kidnapped, we was being raped, and we was being forced to work for them. We were being forced to build the country that they fought independence for. We need to claim independence and demolish all these holidays. They are because none of these holidays gonna give us the acknowledgement we deserve.